The report deserves praise for its breadth and depth. It puts a magnifying glass on the intricacies of labor market challenges, including opportunities and the issues to be overcome. It also undertakes deep analysis through unit level data of various NSS surveys to come up with numbers on the percentage of workers not getting minimum wages, etc., table 2.8, and the incidence of poverty, table 2.9, etc. And we also saw the attention to detail in the presentation that was shared with us a few minutes ago. The report is therefore quite long, comprehensive, and excellent on diagnostics, and somewhat, let me add, somewhat unsurprisingly, short on answers or specifics, except a few that I recall. One on including gig workers in more than one labor code, and on statistical data, administrative information systems on various dimensions of the labor market. As I said, it is not a lacuna, it is not a shortcoming, but that is the nature of the problem we are dealing with. Of course, in terms of statistical data and the ease of access, etc., I can add that those of us who are engaged in downloading labor market data from the website of the Labor Bureau in Chandigarh may be entitled to a hardship allowance. The reason why I said that the absence of specific solutions is not a complaint or a criticism, but par for the course, I want to recall a film from 1970s when I was probably somewhere around 10, 12 years of age. It was a movie which was first originally a play and then became a very famous movie, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, by the noted Tamil journalist, lawyer, actor, Cho Ramaswamy. And in that play, he becomes a prime minister. He comes as a Tughlaq, the emperor, and then he becomes a prime minister, and then he begins to address various problems, corruption, the national language issue, and then the unemployment problem. And for that, he simply says, look, all I will do is I'll keep talking on every dice and every stage that we have to solve the unemployment problem. And that is my contribution to solving the unemployment problem. Because he said, this is not something that I can address. I will say that this problem needs to be addressed urgently in every forum I'm invited to speak at. So the point, therefore, here is that I think there is an element of truth in what he said in that movie. We should ask ourselves, what can the government do on employment short of hiring massively by itself? Of course, I do agree that it can and must hire in some areas. In fact, according to a very good paper by Devesh Kapoor in the Journal of Economic Perspectives some time ago, India may be lacking in capacity. I'm not talking about capability, talking about capacity in terms of numbers in several areas. And numbers are indeed part of the solution in terms of government employment. But apart from that, to think that for every social or economic problem that there is a government intervention is not quite correct. We need to get out of that mindset. In the normal world, it is the commercial sector, those who engage in for-profit activity, who need to do the hiring. Therefore, let us think in terms of what are the facilitative actions that the government has taken in recent years, which the report also has acknowledged. One is, of course, skill development, and I note the comments in the report on how the skill development initiatives, numerous as they are, in terms of the demand and supply, the availability of instructors, and also the dropout rates, those are all issues that need to be addressed quite clearly. There is considerable scope for improvement. And I think the government is mindful of that. And of course, in spite of these challenges, which have been there for quite some time, the push to skill India has manifested in India's rising position in the world skill competitions from number 39 rank in 2011 to number 11 in 2022. Further, according to the India Skills Report 2023, the employable percentage of final year and pre-final year students has increased from 33.9% in 2014 to 51.3% in 2024. And combined with the rising enrollment in higher education, around 3.2 crores in 13-14 to 4.1 crores in 2021, the rising employability of graduates, as mentioned in the India Skills Report, implies that the workforce, young youth workforce, is expanding and is becoming increasingly employable. Although I do note that 51.3% employability means 48.7% still need to be covered. So we're aware of the other side of the story as well. And then what else the government has done apart from the skilling initiative? The new education policy is indeed an important structural reform in human development. Besides introducing the holistic multidisciplinary education with multiple entry and exit options, some of its key features include having no hard separation between vocational and academic streams, and the national credit framework for creditization of various dimensions of learning, academic, vocational, and experiential. The PM Shri schools launched in 2022 will demonstrate the implementation of the new education policy 2020, and these schools will emerge as role models for other nearby schools as well. Thus, NEP is to quality what Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan was to access, and therefore it is important that we also undertake efforts to make sure that this new education policy does not become hostage to political considerations, because the NEP is quite futuristic in nature and acknowledges the challenges that Indian youth will face from technological developments as well, and therefore prepares them accordingly. So its implementation is a national priority. And apart from these two, I'm moving on to other contributions that the government has made. In the 2018-19 budget, the government announced that it would pay 12% of the employer's contribution for new employees for Employee Provident Fund organization. The yearly net payroll addition to the EPFO, therefore, more than doubled from 61 lakhs in 18-19 to 139 lakhs in 22-23, bouncing back from the pandemic shock, also partly aided by the Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana. And there is a new income tax provision, ATJJAA, which allows weighted deduction for wages and salaries. It is there even in the new simplified alternative tax regime with fewer exemptions. This deduction has not been taken away in the new alternative tax regime available to tax assessees, corporate tax assessees. Indeed, we can state very confidently now that the tax code no longer favors capital accumulation over employment generation.